Most recent. The last thing I did was a show called Ghosts on that's coming out on BBC One. It's my first lead role. So it's myself and Charlotte Ritchie, who plays my wife in the show, and we inherit a house from her family. She's the last living relative, and yeah, so we inherit a house, and it's full of ghosts, and she can see them and hear them, and I can't. So 6 episodes on BBC One that'll be out at some point this year. And it's a comedy, and it was really fun. It was great to film. I had a lovely time. It was king cold, but it was cold and the food was shit. But apart from that, I had a great time, and I think the show will be really good. And obviously, well, if it does as well as I think it will, then it will be great for my career as well, because it will show that I can play lead roles. I've always played guest roles or little cameos and or bits here and there, but I think this will really show that I can do lead roles, hopefully. So hopefully everyone likes it. Yeah, so Ghost was the last thing I did. Before that was Enterprise. And Enterprise was 4 parts series for BBC Three, with Kaya Deowumi, who wrote Hood Documentary and starred in Hood Documentary. So I wrote on that with him, and that was my first TV writing credit. It shouldn't have been, but it was. And yeah, so that was my first TV writing credit. That was on. It was for BBC Three, but they also showed it on BBC One. And that was really. It was amazing to watch that whole process go from just an idea. And I remember him calling me for the first time and saying, I've got this idea about 2 guys who start a business together. And amazing to see it go from that in 2015 to being on BBC One in 2018. And like all the bits in between of like names of characters that we came up with together. And then when we get on set, we've got like the name of the character who owns a organic food van, and like just those sort of things like was really great for me. And it was because I want to write and I want to make my own stuff. It was really inspirational, and it just made me want to like work harder and get my stuff off the ground, really. So yeah, Enterprise was great. That's out now on BBC iPlayer. Make sure you get that. It's out on DVD now as well, so you can buy it on DVD, but you also have to buy a DVD player, because I don't got one. Then before that was Staff. So Staff Let's Flats was on Channel 4. It was a 6 episode comedy about estate agents, lettings agents. And I play one of the estate agents in The Office. So I'm in 5 episodes of that. And that's the best job I've ever done. It was so much fun. It was so funny. It was perfect. The cast was amazing. Everyone was great to work with. We all had a good time. I mean, I had a good time on all the jobs I've done, but the food was shit on Ghosts. It's great. It feels great. I've always wanted to be an actor on television, and I am. And that is great. And I've constantly, I mean, despite the rejections and despite all the knockbacks and having to work in a call center and selling Amazon boxes on the corner of the street, despite all of that, since 2012, I've been on television at least once every 6 months. So like twice a year since 2012, at least. So I feel like I've always been doing the work, but I feel like it's only now I'm getting the recognition, which is fine, because it takes some people years. For actors, I would say make your own stuff. You don't have to be a writer. You don't have to be a director, but make your own stuff. Even if you're doing monologues, you can create someone else. You can copy someone else's monologue. Copy a monologue from a film. Just do a scene from a film. Just keep making your own stuff. If you are writing your own stories and you do want to film your own stories and get your own stuff filmed, then that's even better. But if you don't write, if you're not a writer and you don't feel like if the Lord hasn't blessed you with creative influences to write your own things, then like perform someone else's stuff. Just constantly make sure that you're making work. That's for actors. And creatives in general, I feel like there's a difficult topic about working for free. I feel like that's always been a difficult subject. You have to gain exposure. You can't just come and say that you're, hey, I'm a director. What have you directed? Nothing. You have to get some exposure. And you have to do that first. You have to. And I feel like it's important to do that, but I also feel like it's important to know when to stop doing that. You cannot work for free forever because you cannot pay for Balenciagas with exposure. No, you cannot pay, you can't feed yourself on exposure. You can't like go to, what was that restaurant I said before? Crepes and Cones. You can't go to Crepes and Cones and when they send you the bill, you say, yeah, I'm a director. They'll say, so? You'll be washing dishes, bruv. It's important to get your exposure, but it's also important to know when to stop working for free and when you have reached the point where it's like, okay, this is what I can do and this is how much I charge. So I feel like that's important for all creatives, whether you're making clothes, whether you're filming, whether you're acting, dancing, singing, model, whatever it is. I feel like it's important to gain exposure up until a certain point and then you know your price.